Does making a fine dining worthy meal at home feel impossible? With this recipe and these simplified steps, you'll easily create flavorful, melt-in-your-mouth Asian braised ribs. If you're brand new to cooking, the idea of braising can feel very intimidating. But what braising is, in a nutshell, is searing the meat at a high temperature and then simmering it in a flavorful liquid at a very low temperature. The most challenging part of this is searing the ribs, but it is a crucial step for building deep, irresistible flavor. The best tips for searing is start by patting the meat dry of any excess moisture. Moisture will interfere with achieving a golden crust. Next, you'll want to salt the ribs enough so that the salt is visible but not piling up. Salt also enhances achieving a golden crust. You will then heat a heavy skillet or Dutch oven over medium-high heat until the pan is hot. You should be able to feel the heat when placing your hand a few inches above the surface. At this point, add a small amount of toasted sesame oil or high smoke point oil. The oil is ready for searing when it shimmers and forms ripples across the pan, but isn't smoking yet. Add the meat in batches, making sure not to overcrowd the pan. Let the ribs sear undisturbed for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. Remove the ribs and set aside, making sure to turn off the heat for the Dutch oven. The hardest part of making the braising liquid is preparing the fresh garlic, but the trick to preparing garlic without losing your mind is to place the individual cloves in water and then cut the root end off. The moisture from the water and the root end to be removed will make the stubborn skin 1,000 times easier to remove. Once you've prepared the garlic, thinly slice the ginger and then stir all the ingredients together. The most common questions that home cooks ask is, what is chili garlic sauce and do I have to add it? Chili garlic sauce is a tangy, garlicky condiment made from chili peppers, vinegar, and salt. I personally feel like it's an imperative ingredient to achieving deeply flavorful ribs. A few things to keep in mind though is that most grocery store brands will lean mild to medium in spice. For a bolder heat, you will want to go to a specialty Asian market. Another common question is whether the brown sugar is needed. I do highly recommend keeping it in as it balances the other ingredients, adds depth of flavor, and helps in creating a rich, glossy glaze. Once the braising liquid is mixed together, add the ribs back into the Dutch oven and pour the braising liquid over the ribs. So the ribs should be mostly submerged. If they're not, add a little bit more beef broth. Cover and cook in a preheated 325° Fahrenheit oven for 3 to 4 hours or until the ribs are tender and falling off the bone. The beauty of this recipe is once the preparation is done, it becomes very low maintenance. It doesn't require attention until the 3 to 4 hour mark. Once the ribs are done cooking, remove them from the braising liquid and set aside. To make the luxurious glaze, start by straining the sauce into a saucepan. This will remove the solids. You will then make a slurry, which is simply a mixture of cornstarch and water. This is what's needed to thicken the glaze to the glossy texture that clings to the ribs. Just keep in mind that for every cup of braising liquid, you will need 2 tablespoons of both cornstarch and water. To thicken, bring the sauce to a simmer over medium heat and whisk in the slurry. Cook, stirring constantly until the glaze thickens to your desired consistency. These ribs are so delicious served over fluffy rice and served alongside my Asian cucumber salad. For more recipes like this and for weekly inspiration, make sure to head on over to thefedupfoodie.com and sign up for my newsletter where I share recipes and tips in helping to make cooking from scratch approachable.